Every life contains a year, some contain several, when the plan shatters. The marriage that was supposed to last, the career that was supposed to work, the health that was supposed to hold, the version of yourself you were supposed to become, lying in pieces on the floor of the version you actually are. In this episode, I want to show you that Kabbalah's most famous and strangest teaching, the breaking of the vessels, is about exactly this, and that it contains the most useful account of failure and repair I know of anywhere in the world's literature. First, the teaching itself plainly told. Rabbi Isaac Luria, the Ari, taught in 16th century Safed that when the infinite began to create, after the Tzimtzum, the making of room, that we studied 2 episodes ago, the divine light poured into vessels, structures meant to hold and organize it, the shevirat we spoke about in last episode. And the vessels failed. The light was too much for them. They shattered. Shevirat hakelim, the breaking of the vessels. And the fragments fell, carrying sparks of the original light stuck to them like oil on shards of a broken jar. Those sparks, say the Ari, are everywhere now, scattered through the world, embedded in ordinary things, hidden inside husks of concealment the tradition calls klippot. And the human task, the reason in the Lurianic picture that you are here at all, is tikkun or repair, to find the sparks in whatever is in front of you and lift them. Now, you can hear that as remote cosmology, a strange story about a catastrophe before history. But stand in the year your own plans broke and listen to what the teaching is actually saying, because it is saying 3 things that cut very close to the bone. First, breakage is built in. Notice where the Ari places the shattering, not late in the story, not as punishment for human sin, but at the very beginning, in the infrastructure of creation itself. Before a single human being made a single mistake, the world was already a broken and being repaired kind of place. That is a radical claim, and it has a radical consequence for how you read your own life. Our culture quietly teaches that a life is supposed to go smoothly and that failure is a deviation, evidence that you did something wrong or chose badly or deserve less. The Lurianic picture says no. Fracture is not the interruption of the story. Fracture is the terrain the story was always going to cross, because this is a universe whose very first structures could not hold their light. You were never promised unbroken vessels. Nobody was. The question the tradition asks about your shattered plan is not, what did you do to deserve this? It is the craftsman's question, what can be built from these pieces? The second, the light is in the pieces. This is the detail that changes everything, and I want you to see how deliberate it is. The Ari did not teach that when the vessels broke, the light went back up to heaven and left dead fragments behind. He taught that the light fell with the shards. The sparks are in the rubble, in the lowest places, the darkest corners, embedded in exactly the material that looks most ruined. Translate that out of cosmology. The divorce carries a spark. The failed business carries a spark. The illness, the estrangement, the decade you regret, each one is a shard with a light stuck to it. And the light is only recoverable by the person standing in that particular rubble. This is not the shallow claim that everything happens for a reason, which is a sentence the tradition never says, and grieving people should never be told. It is a different claim, harder and more useful. Whatever has happened, something in it can still be turned towards good, and turning it is the most godly work available to a human being. The Talmud itself, long before Luria, put the pattern in one line. The penitent, the person rebuilding from wreckage, stands, say the sages, where the perfectly righteous cannot stand. Broken and repaired reaches higher than never broken. Any honest craftsman knows why. The repair contains everything the original contains, plus the knowledge of how it breaks. And the third, repair is local. Here is where the Baal Shem Tov took Luria's grand cosmology and handed it to ordinary people, and it is the most practical sentence in this entire series. The sparks assigned to you, he taught, are in your path specifically, not in some holier life you are failing to live, in this one. The customer standing in front of you, the meal on your table, the difficult relative, the tedious errand. Each came to you, of all people, because it contains something that only your attention, your honesty, your patience can lift. Providence in this teaching is not a grand abstraction. It is the claim that your day is a curated collection of repair opportunities with your name on them. The Kabbalists even taught that a person's unwanted circumstances, the job you didn't choose, the town you ended up in, may be precisely where your sparks are waiting, which is why they are yours and not someone else's. Whether or not you take that literally, watch what it does to a person who lives by it. Nothing in their day is beneath them. No encounter is meaningless, and boredom becomes almost impossible. That is not mysticism as escape. That is mysticism as total engagement. Tikkun is not a promise that everything broken gets fixed. Some vessels do not reassemble in this life. Some losses are losses, full stop. And the tradition, which buried its dead and sat shiva and wrote lamentations, knows this better than any tradition on earth. The teaching is not, it will all be okay. The teaching is, even here, there is work only you can do, and the work is holy. Those are different sentences. The second one has carried people through what the first one cannot survive. So here is this week's practice, and it comes straight from the sources. Choose one shard, one piece of your own rubble, a strained relationship, a failure you still carry, a duty you resent, and this week do one concrete thing that lifts a spark from it. The phone call, the apology, the hour of honest effort, the small act of care performed inside the exact situation you wish were different. Not because it will repair everything, because according to the deepest teaching in Kabbalah, that gesture, small, local, and unglamorous, is the human role in the universe being performed. The Ari described the cosmos that breaks and is mended. Then he looked at ordinary people and assigned the mending to us. Next episode, why you can sleep 8 hours and still be exhausted, and the 5 levels of the soul and what each one actually eats.